Yeah, books.
Today I'm going to review Conan, the Barbarian and the Skull of Set. This is from '89. It's Conan the Barbarian and the Skull of Set. Doug, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I'm going to say Moench, Paul Galacy, Gary Martin, and some other people. We don't need to credit all them. So it's kind of a male power fantasy. You know, it's got gratuitous violence, sort of over-the-top action, and of course, very much caters to the male gaze. But you know, as long as you accept that when you're buying in, then you'll enjoy this. If you're the type of person that sort of thing is a no-go, I would advise not picking up probably any Conan books from the present or the recent past or the far past. They're probably not for you. But if you accept that, this particular book was some good fun. Also, mild spoilers. I don't know if I need to do that for like an obscure Conan comic from 1989, but you know how nerds are. So mild spoilers. I'll just do sort of the dust jacket copy here. You know, like all good Conan comics. This one starts in a tavern. Definitely, that's one of my favorite images of Conan. You know, he's drinking silently in a bar and he gets into a fight. This one, he overhears a bunch of soldiers, and they sort of lay out the atmosphere. You know, sort of setting for the story. The cult of Set is spreading everywhere. They're sort of like proto-Egyptians in the Hyborian world, and they're warring with the kingdom that Conan is sort of drifting through right now. And the kingdom's at war, and it's not faring well. So he sort of gets all that information. And then he gets into a fight. He's brought before the king, and the king actually hires him to escort a wagon full of weapons. Or is it a wagon full of weapons? Maybe it's a wagon full of something else. But he's going to escort it, and this is where this particular Conan story really kind of takes a twist, because it sort of melds the heroic fantasy genre with the Western, which is like a different kind of heroic fantasy genre, and it really does kind of become a Western taking on those tropes. And so you've got these other characters that are traveling in a different wagon, and they're sort of fleeing the town before the sort of war turns south, and you've got these sort of mysterious characters. You've got this sort of greedy sort of merchant guy's kind of crass, and then you've got this uppity aristocrat who's very full of himself, and he's got her, like, his severely undersexed wife. Gotta fuck your wife, folks. And he is not doing it. And this mysterious priestess, and she's kind of like she's like this sort of quiet priestess of Mithras, I think they call her god. And so they're all fleeing the city. Very Western. Reminds me a bit of that Quentin Tarantino film, this Something 7. And so it's got these sort of like 4 characters. They end up with Conan. He breaks this guy's hand. It's quite delightful. He's so wormy, you know. It's fun to watch him sort of eat crow. His undersexed, horny wife sort of hits on Conan too, and of course they end up getting attacked by bandits. If you just saw this panel, you would instantly think this was a Western, you know, until you notice it. It's like swords and axes, but you know, it's very much drawing on that sort of feel. And he ends up at an occult temple, and there's, you know, when we get there, there's tons of action. I love the colors. I love these garish colors. I've been reading some of the Dark Horse reprints of the Marvel Conan going back to the 70s, and you know, they've been recolored, and it's so washed out, and these sort of vibrant, sort of emotive colors really interest me. It's got giant monsters, crazy sorcery, and all that sort of epic stuff. It's pretty good. There's some downsides. There's a couple choppy scenes. I feel like a couple of the transitions between pages, they don't feel so natural. Like once or twice, you know, you get that kind of feeling of like you flip a page and it's like, oh, I guess this is happening now. I guess we lost 3 hours or something when we flip the page. And I think with Conan that's easy to do because as a writer, we all know the character, or at least the readers know the character. There's like 6 things about Conan, and that's who he is, and he doesn't really change. The only thing that really changes about Conan is where he is in his life. Is he a king, or is he not yet a king? And that's Conan. There's one other downside, and that is the cover. It's okay. I mean, I do like this sort of illustrator effect. This is like almost got like an image trace on it, but of course this is from 1989, so that's not a thing. I don't know. It's kind of washed out. This is from the Marvel graphic novel line, which I think ran from like the early 80s to the early 90s. It was about a 10-year run. And the idea was that Marvel wanted to start putting out these like European style comic collections, because they're closer to 8.5 by 11, and they've got like a hardcover. It looks more like a trade paperback than a floppy American comic. And I love this size. It's a good story. I feel like it's the equivalent of like a 1 hour show, or like a short movie or something. You can get enough story in there, but you don't have to get too deep. You can kind of dip a toe and jump out. And I have a bunch more of these, and all of them I think look better than this one. Like this one, like it looks like a best of cover or something, whereas like I've got this Death of Gru, which is like, it fills the whole page. It's got this great color. I've got a couple other ones. This one's really cheesy, but it has sort of a grandeur to it. And then of course I have this other Marvel graphic novel, Conan, and this is really what you want. When you pick up Conan, you want that savage sword of Conan. I think this is Beekman, but you want to feel like you're reading something epic and something that maybe kids should be reading. Right when you pick it up, you want to feel like it's something that like a sleazy guy would read on the toilet or something. There's something about like that sort of artwork. So what did I think? I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy this book. I love the melding of genres. I've been reading a lot of Conan, and a lot of it I enjoy, but it's not none of them, like they feel a little bit like work, because I'm reading them for work, for research. But this one really jumped out at me. This one really got me excited. There was lots of highs. It was action-packed, even though what's coming. It was fun. This is a book that when it goes back on my shelf, I'm sure I'll take down and read again. I gave it 3.5 nostrils out of 5 nostrils. So it's pretty good. Definitely recommend. I got mine. I can't remember where I got it. I bought it online somewhere, but the cover price on them says like $7.50 Canadian. I probably paid like $12 or $13 Canadian. So I think that's pretty comparable to just like what the price would be now. So you can pick them up, and I recommend it. So this has been Nostril Zone Comic Reviews. Expect these on occasion.
Yeah, books.